I can't chop that.
Y'all are funny.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, I'm Danielle, third generation in the precious metals and diamond space. I do custom jewelry, high jewelry, fine jewelry, anything that has to do with diamonds. I'm your girl. Okay. Question number 1 is,
why do clients have difficulty finding a reputable jeweler? Or what they feel to be reputable?
well, see, that's a question that is hard to answer personally because I've never had to look for a reputable jeweler. My father's been in the industry since the 70s. I never looked for jewelers.
Based on the
if I
client
was
responses
looking-
that we've been getting.
If I was looking for a jeweler, I would
Okay.
look for someone who has been in a community a very long time. If you go into those jewelry stores, you'll see that the community is actually in there. The ones that are the traditional jewelry stores that have
Engaged.
cases and you have jewelry out on display and those kind of things.
Well, we don't have jewelry on display.
We don't. I'm more of boutique. Everything in here is bespoke. I'm
Okay.
going to make it the way you want to see it on you, not the way a manufacturer mass produces anything. We don't do that here.
But the reputable part.
But the reputable part, in this day and age, Google is your friend. See if anybody's let's be honest, people will put the bad up first before they put the good.
Correct.
Look for the bad reviews and read the reviews to find out if the person was being realistic or if it was really just bad service, because they'll tell on themselves in the middle of the review.
Yeah. Sometimes the jeweler gave them what they wanted. A lot of times we experience clients that, well, I told them I wanted this. They gave you what you wanted. You just didn't like what you asked for. Sometimes that's
Now
not
that
our
can't
fault.
be helped.
Okay. So, next question. Unclear pricing and overcharging. Give me some context on why people always feel that the price wasn't what I expected and I felt that I was overcharged based on the price that I saw. So I think I'll answer that one directly.
Yeah. answer that one directly.
I'm on the buy side of jewelry. We buy a lot of gold and silver. And the reality is most people don't realize you are wearing a commodity. There's a base price. You're not just directly gonna get 100% value of what the item is. Your jeweler will purchase the metal, the manufacturer will purchase the metal, then they will provide a service and turning into something that is art that you are basically wearing. So you're basically wearing a creation of a manufacturer or an individual that's creating art, and that service costs money. So there's a rate that traditionally something should go for.
And in that same vein, depending on the jeweler you've decided to go with, if they are a very large name that's been around for a very long time, you're going to pay for that.
Correct.
You pay for names in any industry when it's a commodity.
Yeah, there's no standard price for art. We do feel that there is some gouging that can be experienced if you're buying something and it is way outside the norm. Granted, if it is a custom piece, the price can be anything because you're paying for the artist, the person's time, the creativity. And is there a price on that? Depending on who you are, depending on what you're producing. Eye of the beholder.
Right.
And
All
yesterday's
that costs.
price
It's not today's
is
price.
not today's price. That's our inside joke.
And literally in the gold and silver market, yesterday's price is not today's price because it's constantly moving. Let's be
Also true.
honest.
Yeah, what your grandmother paid for jewelry, gold was $100 an ounce, $200 an ounce. Today, gold's $2,000 an ounce.
There's going to be a big difference.
That's a parameter difference.
And let's be honest, when you're talking about the luxury space, there is no such thing as a discount. That's just part of it.
Because you're dealing with that person, you might pay a premium. Danielle's price is going to be a little bit more than some other traditional places. But also, the service is different. The product quality is going to be different. Next question is, clients feel they deal with a lack of transparency in the jewelry service that they receive. Can you give me some insight into that?
Well, I can't speak to what transparency you're getting and not getting, but I would say when you go in to do a consult or go in to check out a jewelry store the first time, start asking questions. the way they answer those questions will should give you an idea of how transparent and how to the point they are. And when you start asking for timelines, realistic timelines, because things do happen, the answers they give, they'll either be they'll give you the answer like, I know our turn times are this, this, and this, or they'll, well, it's kind of, I don't know, sort of.
Once they have the data, of course.
You start having...
Because different products have different timelines.
Different products have different timelines. It all depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about something that just needs to come out of the case in size? Or are you talking about something that has to be made from scratch? And those, when you're talking about timelines, those timelines can stretch. Especially if you want something made where they actually have to go look for the pieces. And you even have situations sometimes where the diamonds have to be cut to match the piece. This is going to make things longer. Timelines can change a lot based on that.
Tell me about why people feel they're getting poor communication from their jeweler, or I guess the business that they're dealing with. This might be a business question in general.
Well, a business question, but what is the expectation of communication? Are you expecting the person to talk to you every day? Are you expecting them to update you when something happens? I personally, when I'm doing anything outside of the jewelry space, what is my expectation on timeline for this? So you expect this to be out in a week, so that, let's say today's Friday. If next Friday comes and I don't hear from you, is it okay for me to call you on Monday to get a status on this? Following up. I would assume that before anybody gives you any money, you give anybody any money, that there would be an expectation of what you're getting and how long it's going to take and what the backup plan is to that taking that long.
I always say this. How are you received in that business? That kind of sets the tone of sometimes the level of communication you're going to get. When you walked in, did they greet you with a warm embrace? Did you get somebody that was knowledgeable?
Everybody don't want to be touched.
We're just talking about...
You said embrace.
Good morning. How are you doing today? The Alex Lexington way is a little different from some people, but we hang our hat on customer service. So we have high standards, high expectations. She's a little more of a stickler than I am. But, it just depends on what you're needing.
There was a little judgment in that, I think.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you work with your spouse.
Nonetheless, I think does that feel like it answers the question?
I think so.
Deal with poor communication. If someone's taking your money, you should know what you're dealing with before you leave your first session. Or when you walked in, the kind of vibe that you got from said business. I think that matters in our industry or any other industry for that matter.
Right. And that goes back to looking up the business and finding reviews on them. Like I said earlier, people are quick to tell you when something went sideways. Yeah. Faster than they are to tell you, this was a great business. I had such a good experience. Da, 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 da. They're less likely to do that than it is to say they had poor communication. It took them 5 weeks to get back to me. They never answered the phone. I emailed. I sent a carrier pigeon and I got nothing.
Well, I will say this. If you do receive good customer service, you did enjoy your experience, please leave a review about that business or service. I think we take for granted that everybody's doing this because your experience was good. If your experience was good, I think you should leave that information so somebody else can have accurate information and not something that was artificially generated, potentially.
Yeah, that's a good question. Have you supported a small business today?
Yeah.
And if you haven't, you should. And it's Black History Month. Let's support a small Black business.
Saying for a friend.
Not necessarily mine.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm off my soapbox now.
I think that's all. Thank you.